chair today until we get through general business to vote on chair and vice chair and all that lovely jazz. So without further ado, we're going to open up the Architectural Board review for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. May we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Staff Russell. We will have a roll call. Vice Chair Whalen?
Here.
He's not vice chair yet.
Well, we'll just
He's
go as
formally.
formerly.
Board Member Anderson?
Here.
He said here is fine.
Okay. Chair Anderson?
Here.
Board Member Black? Oh, he's out. Board Member Noon?
Here.
Board Member Six?
Here.
Board Member Sovereign? Here. We have quorum. Thank you.
So, my short-lived chair role. First item on the agenda, item A, election of the chair and vice chair for 2026. So we can open that up for the board to vote.
I'll nominate Lauren Anderson, formerly known as chair.
I'd like to request a consideration that we mix things up. I'd hate for us to become a stagnant board where the same individuals are constantly voted in the same position. Maybe they're qualified, but I also think it's important to rotate responsibility to ensure that everyone on the board is qualified and given a fair opportunity to contribute.
I second that. I hear that.
So
think
do
it's
you have
good
a
to have.
nomination?
Sure. I nominate Steve.
Excuse me, I think the understanding was you would rotate them during the year, or we would elect a new one for this year. I would like to understand.
I just think that, I guess my comment was more driven towards trying to avoid becoming like an HLC where we just have the same people year after year in the exact same role. I know that, for example, previous board that I sat on was that actually there was just a rotation that happened so that everyone sort of knew what was going to happen, but it gave everyone a better opportunity to, experience the different
So
potential roles.
again, are you proposing a rotation during the year or a new chair for this full year?
I'm proposing a new chair for the full year or even a rotation for the year. I hadn't considered the rotation for a year. That sounds interesting, actually.
I don't think we can actually do that, though.
What do you mean by a rotation for the year?
Well, every 3 months or 4 months, we have a new chair. I think that's happened on other boards, but I'm not excited about it, so I was interested in hearing what you understand your motion, and now I do. Thank you.
So that idea sounds nice, but I definitely need to run that by the supervisors. So if today the board wishes to maybe do a rotating chair situation, we could postpone the election. Someone could act as chair today until the next full board, if that's the direction that we want to go, or we traditionally stick with a chair that's elected for the entirety of 2026. So if you would like to wait and see, we could potentially entertain the idea at the next full board hearing, but I definitely need to run that up the chain of command. So
Well-
not sure it's possible.
I want to weigh in on that. I think it's good to have some continuity, because there is a kind of guiding voice to whoever is the chair. And if we rotate every 3 months, that is I think that's a little bit too much rotation.
Yes, I would not support that either.
Maybe I can kill this right now. I will second the nomination for Chair
her
Anderson
name?
to be, I'll second the nomination.
Okay.
So we can go to a vote, and this would be for chair and vice chair. So it sounds like we have some nominations for chair, but maybe we could vote on chair first and vice chair second.
No, I would combine that with a nomination of Mr. Whalen for vice chair.
I'll second that as well.
Okay,
Okay.
so, we can all take a vote?
All right, we'll take a vote. I'm just going to say board member until this is confirmed. So, board member Lauren Anderson,
Yes.
board member Anderson,
No.
board member Six,
Yes.
board member Whalen,
Yes.
board member Noon,
Yes?
board member Sovereign.
No.
Motion passes.
Okay. So now, I think vote has passed. You may
Okay.
take over.
All right, we'll move on to general business item B, the 2026 appointment of consent review representatives and subcommittees.
I have up on the screen, last year, 2025 ABR consent review schedule. If changes want to be made, speak now. We've been doing it on a 2-month rotating basis, so.
Yeah, Will, I wanted to ask a question. So are people voting on their own election?
I don't know.
They're,
Yes.
because we're voting for chair and vice chair, they're confirming the one that they're not. So when we call for board member Anderson, Lauren Anderson, she's confirming that she's voting for the vice chair. Because we just do one call. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
And newly Chair Anderson, if I may, the President of the United States walks into a voting booth, and I'm sure that he's voting for himself.
So, just to make sure I cross my T's and dot my I's, I will check with supervisor just to make sure that what had happened today is kosher. So I think if it's not a problem, we can proceed with Chair Anderson being elected chair today. But I just don't want to speak too freely on how our process works for that, so I'm not entirely sure. So I'll get back to you at the next full board hearing.
That would be great. And I'd also appreciate if you could just look into sort of like what voting protocol is. I think Chair Anderson and Vice Chair Whalen have been doing a great job. This isn't a question of what you guys have done. I'm just disappointed that we are becoming a stagnant board, and that is seems to be something that Richard is very proud of. You gave me a bit of a smug smile with that vote.
So I don't want to create some dissension amongst the board members today. There is a typical way we do this. Sometimes our design review supervisor likes that we see one chairperson. It keeps it simple together. I
One
do hear your
chairperson's fine
point.
for the year.
Sure.
One chairperson for many years is not healthy.
Sure. Yeah. So this might be a discussion that can occur with the design review supervisor outside of this hearing today. I do believe it's a good discussion on both sides, but today I'll get an answer back on how the voting works. But for today, we'll just leave it as is. Chair Anderson will run the meeting today, and then we can go back. I can answer that voting question. So we'll leave it at that.
Mr. Russell, you aren't implying that we would re-vote, are you?
I am not entirely confident. If a revote happens again, so be it. I don't know the voting process in its entirety, so I'm not too confident that what we did today was correct. So I have a little bit of hesitation. So I just want to make sure that if it is correct, then maybe we can just revote and do it again.
I wanted to make sure the window was still open for that
Temporary.
end of the table.
Temporary. I do not know.
Yes.
I guess if I
And
could-
then, Mr. Russell, on item B, are you looking for a motion?
Yes, and then I do believe that Board Member Noon had.
I just
slight
wanted
comment,
to
small
maybe
comment.
bring a little clarity. I mean, we are at each year, as a board, open to make new nominations, and then if there's more than one, we can we can go through that process of voting. I don't know if you're implying that we should then have term limits, if you will, that, a board member, a chair should be limited to 1 year. That would be a discussion that I guess would be from staff and/or within ourselves, but we do have that opportunity, I guess, is what I wanted to clarify. We have that opportunity to replace them every year. So, for what it's worth.
So, I think we'll leave item A alone for now, but let's move on to item B, appointment of the consent review representatives. And so we'll vote for this new 2025 ABR consent, or now 2026 consent review schedule.
I'll make a motion to accept what's on the screen.
Second?
Any discussion or changes? Okay, take a vote.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Board Member Noon,
Yes?
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment for general business. Any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject that is not on today's agenda.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for general public comment. If anyone wishes to make a general public comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. At this time, I see no one in the audience moving to do so. Next, we will turn our attention to virtual attendance, and I do not have any hands raised for virtual general public comment. And we did not receive any written correspondence for general public comment. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the meeting on December 8th.
So moved.
I'll second it. Do we have any discussion? Okay, let's take a vote.
Okay, Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black. Oh, excuse me, Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, the approval of the minutes from the consent meeting of December 8th.
I can pull those up. 1 second. So item A, 411 East Cannon Burdito Street, was given project design and final approval as submitted. New item, 230 West Solis Street, was given project design with the following comments. The overall site planning and architecture are acceptable. The cantilevered balcony over the carriage house needs to express the honesty of the required depth of the supports and structure, provide adequate construction notes to delineate between the new wall and driveway. The board looks forward to landscape and complete architectural details of the project, and the board finds that the compatibility analysis criteria generally have been met. Item C, new item concept review, 11-15 Ocean View Ave. Continued indefinitely to the staff hearing officer with final approval by staff and the following comments. So to return to staff for final approval. The board has no problem with the modification requested and minor zoning exception. The board would like to see the solid fence rebuilt and increased to a height adequate to cover the top of the trash enclosure. That the same fence return on the left, the side adjacent to the drive, and that the solid fence return to the main gate, the man gate at the translucent fence, and the balance of the translucent fence along the property line to be set back 2 feet. Landscaping to be rejuvenated and repaired. That was it for the consent items for December 8th.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
All right, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, and then December 15th, the consent meeting.
Continued item, project design approval and final approval, 410 Oria Del Mar. Received project design and final approval with conditions. Rear as-built hotel unit, trellis, and site work are approved as presented. All exterior surfaces on the front shall remain as stucco material with as-built windows to remain and door surrounds to be newly painted to match the hotel unit, excuse me. Number 3, update the landscape plan to city approval standards with botanical name, sizing, and spacing of the new plantings and provide notes on the irrigation system. 4, if the existing vines on the trellis cannot be saved, replace them with 2 new 5-gallon sized vines of like species, and the board finds the project compatibility analysis criteria to be met. And that was the only item.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, and then ratification of action taken on the consent calendar for today, January 20th.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. We had 2 items today, 4233 Pozo Circle, which was here for project design and final approval, which was granted both project design and final approval as submitted. And 130 West Padre Street was also here for project design and final approval, which was also granted project design and final approval. So those were the 2 items today.
I'll make a motion to ratify the actions taken by the consent calendar today.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, any announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, or appeals?
None.
And subcommittee reports? No. Okay. Moving on to item 1, 102 West De La Guerra Street, proposal to construct a new 4-story plus basement self-storage facility in a 5-story, 44-unit residential apartment building on a site developed with a 77-space parking lot. The site is located within the Priority Housing Overlay and Central Business District. The site is located within the Priority, what? Sorry. Okay, the project utilizes AB 2097, the city's average unit size density program, and state density bonus law. No parking is proposed pursuant to AB 2097. A concession for height restrictions and a waiver for open yard standards, as allowed under SDBL, has been approved by the Community Development Director. Planning Commission approvals of 2 development permit plans and a tentative subdivision map were granted on May 1st, 2025. Property is adjacent to the El Pueblo Viejo Landmark District. The proposed project is adjacent to 101 West Cannon Perdido Street, the historic telephone building constructed in 1927 and across the street from 113 to 115 West De La Guerra Street, a historic Spanish colonial revival-style building designed by noted architects Edwards and Plunkett. Final approval is requested, requires substantial conformance to the plans granted PDA by the board on June 9th, 2025, was last reviewed on October 27th, 2025.
And Chair Anderson, I have a conflict, so I will step down.
Okay, thank you. Anything from staff?
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. Just briefly, a reminder to the board and the public as well that the purpose of final approval consideration is simply for the board to address whether the current iteration of the design substantially conforms to that which received project design approval. And then in terms of stormwater management compliance, we're not quite sure if the plans are where we would normally want them for final approval, but I just want to assure the board that if final approval were granted today and there were substantial changes in the future to accommodate SWIMP compliance, we would bring the plans back to you on a review after finals. So I just wanted to get that into the record. And with that, I hand it back to you. That's all I have.
Okay, well, welcome back. Please introduce yourselves when our monitors start working and walk us through your final details in response to our comments from last meeting.
Surprise, surprise, we're having technical difficulties. It was just working, so do you mind bearing with us for a second before we
Sure.
start?
Unplugging this and plugging it back in? Unplug it? Blowing it like the old Nintendo?
Oh my gosh.
This thing maybe?
Okay, can we go back to my screen so I can put that one up? Okay, so, apologies, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess to try to figure this out. We can reconvene at 3:31. Thank you. I think we can reconvene the architectural board of review. We're all good. I'm gonna pass this to you. And we can get going again. You know what? Let's just keep going. I don't want to hold it up. Okay. This is what we have to deal with today, so we don't want to reschedule.
Ready?
Yes, welcome back.
Thank
again. Please introduce yourselves. You have 15 minutes.
Jeff Hornbuckle with the Cornell Collective.
Jack Boyle, Arco Murray.
Did you want to read the minutes or?
I can read the minutes from October. It said, provided graphic study of why the electrical room entry cannot be turned 90 degrees. Provide an upgrade of the fence in front of the new transformer with a Spanish quality as reflected in the stair railings. The board needs to see more vines or opaque plants in the location of the fence in the front of the transformer. The board needs to see details on the corner 45-degree beams on the eaves, rafter tails, details on the southwest exit door, and details on the vents on the front and rear buildings, showing that they are semi-recessed and have decorative grills in front of the utilitarian louvered vents. Plan should reflect one direction of mission tile detailing with standards expected from this particular designer, Cornell. The board would like to see refinement of the exterior wall plaster at grade and the exterior plaster at grade to see that it can be minimized to barely touching the earth and not exposing the concrete edges. The vinyl windows shown are very questionable, and the board would like to see other materials rather than vinyl, and if not, the board needs to be convinced the vinyl product selected is of high quality.
Thank you. My plan was just to run through that list and how we've responded. And then there are a few additional items that weren't necessarily in the minutes, but we've made some changes to, so I just wanted to touch on those. And then we'll obviously answer any questions that you all may have. So the first item regarding the electrical room and relocating the entry. I will say that I pushed very hard on this. I probably drove the design team and the owner a little bit crazy. But unfortunately, we are unable to relocate that, and I will attempt to show you why. So this is the current proposed and previous layout of the transformer. You can see in this dashed green line the radial clearance around that transformer, as well as the 5-foot working clearance that's required at the open end. So let me go to the next sheet. So what we tried to do was to rotate this and shift it back, if I can get there, as far as possible. So you can see we've rotated this 90 degrees, pushed it as far back as we can until we, the pad essentially is hitting the accessible, path out. you can see where the 3-foot radial clearance is, and that overlap with the stair, unfortunately. It is about a 3-foot overlap. So even if we were able to, nudge this thing back a few inches and push the stair up, a few inches, we still don't get there, unfortunately. So we are proposing to keep it where it was shown originally. Second item, provide an upgrade of the fence in front. So that is on page 6. So that detail is here. Oops, this is lagging a little bit, I'm sorry. Okay, so this fence and gate detail have been updated. It is more consistent with what we're proposing for the wrought iron balcony, so that there's some consistency. We've got a 3/4 inch twisted bar at the ends of the fence and the intermediates, and then the intermediate pickets are I believe, what size are those? 3/4 inch bars on a 45-degree angle. And then we've got a security mesh behind that to prevent somebody from just reaching in. And then we've sort of repeated that along the fence to create sort of a patterning of that so that there's some consistency across that. And what that would be is the McNichols cloverleaf pattern mesh. Item number 3, board needs to see more vines. So we are providing a vine in front of that, and that's on page 50. Yeah. Oh. One more back. Just thinking. Yeah, here it is. Slowly but surely we'll get there. So this triangle is a vine that we're proposing to plant along that fence.
It's a Chinese star jasmine.
Thank you. Item number 4, board needs to see details on the corner 45-degree beams. That should be
Jeff,
on.
I was just going to add the 2 end callouts. Those are additional screening. It's heavenly bamboo plants.
Got it. Not sure why this is off one. Those corner rafters are shown. Actually, no, this is not
One
the
more
right
page.
sheet. Is it one more?
Yeah. Is that keynote 15?
Yeah, so here's keynote 15, which is calling out the 45-degree angled rafter tails at the corners of each corner of the building. Item number 5, plans should reflect one direction emission tile detailing. So we, the previous submittal, we had some manufacturer's details on one of the first sheets of the set. That's been eliminated. And we've got just our details, which are on this sheet and the following. So we can look at those more closely if you'd like. The board would like to see refinement on the exterior wall plaster at grade. So that is on page, oh, you know what? I skipped a couple here. I'm sorry. So the southwest exit door, go to page 3. That has been revised to a wood door, which this is the cut sheet. It's a true style wood door, square sticking, style and rail with V-groove. And then the grills, so I think it's going to be on page 20. No, wrong way. Here we go. So we had quite a bit of discussion last time regarding these vents, and what we discussed was recessing them. So this is a cut sheet of the vent. You can see these are the details showing those recessed as much as we can get them. We did have some discussion on placing a decorative grill in front. We ultimately decided not to do that because we felt that this building being white with the white vents, the vents will be painted to match the plaster. They sort of just go away, whereas if we did like a black, metal decorative screen in front of that, it would just sort of call more attention to that, which is what we don't want to happen. And then additionally, the vents would have to get larger because it reduces the free area in front of the actual vent, so that whole thing has to get bigger. So, after much studying it, we felt like this was the best solution. Okay. Oops, shoot. Plaster coming down to grade, that has been updated so that we've still got our weep screed, but then we're plastering the concrete face below down to grade. Vinyl windows. We've got a sample of what is being proposed here. It is a Anderson 400 series window.
Pass it across.
Do you want us to lay it down?
Honestly, just,
Do you want us to lay it down so?
no, I'm not even going to do it today. No,
Okay.
it's fine. Thank you for bringing it, but I don't. Well, I mean, it's there now. I guess we can do it. We could try. City TV, do you mind zooming down on?
Lay it down?
Let's see what even it looks. I don't want to break more things today.
Yeah. On to the counter, please.
Oh. You know what? I'm not. Yeah. All right. Smile. All right. Thank you, City TV.
I'll leave it here. You can look at it after if there
I'm gonna
are
put it down.
questions.
City TV, I think we're good. Thank you.
Let's see, can we switch back to the plans? Thank you. So just a couple other items that weren't necessarily part of the minutes but have changed, and we just want to make sure that we go over it. There was a comment last time about the secondary light fixture. So this is the light fixture at the entryway, but then this is kind of the secondary fixture. I believe it was 12 inches tall previously, so the manufacturer does offer a 15-inch tall version, so we've opted to go with that, just a little bit better scale. There was some discussion regarding the curb cut at the street for the bike parking room and making sure that that was aligned with the bike parking room. So I just want to show that that has been updated. So here is that curb cut, which aligns exactly with the opening into the bike parking room. Our landscape architect is not here, but we have also updated the landscape plan street trees so that previously we had 4 street trees, and that has been updated to 2 well, you saw it there for a second, in coordination with the city arborist. And those have been adjusted so that they're not, right in front of an entry door or something like that. I'm going to go to the elevation sheets here. We did a lot of work regarding the layout of the vents and the vertical control joints. So we eliminated, sorry about that. We eliminated the majority of the vertical control joints at the rear storage building. So this elevation, for example, doesn't have any. And then we've also made some kind of minor adjustments, but I think that do a lot of work in terms of the arrangement and layout of the openings in relationship to the grills. I think if you recall from the last review, some of the grills were sort of overlapping with the support brackets of the balconies. So those have all been refined so that they're, there's a relationship between them and there is no overlap, and just so that they're, they're all rational to one another. And that's sort of reflected throughout these elevations. And again, we can come back to any of this if you have any specific questions. Let's see. There was a comment regarding the balconies. That they be shown accurately. So we've added a detail of each depth so that you can, that they're shown properly with the support brackets, etc. So this is the balcony depth that is at the front residential building, and this is the shallower balcony at the rear storage building. Just two more items here. Whoops. The guardrails for the stair out of the electrical room has just been refined a bit here. So again, the twisted bar at the ends with the intermediate pickets at a 45-degree angle, flat bar, top and bottom rail. And then this is the guardrail for the stair out of the storage building that has the path that leads down to Taylor Garrett Street. So again, similar detailing, just been refined and consistent. I guess, and then the final item I had was just the revised street trees, changing from 2 and adjusting the spacing. So I believe that is it, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay. We will open up public comment for item number 1.
Yeah, just enough.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular item. If anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so now we will turn our attention to virtual attendance, and at this time, I do not have any hands raised virtually for this project, and we did not receive any written correspondence. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we'll close public comment for item 1 and move on to questions from the board. Board Member Anderson, would you like to start?
Okay, I don't have a lot of questions. Can you flip to the floor plan quickly?
Yep. Well, I don't know about quickly, but I will.
Yeah, there's a lot of sheets in here, I know.
I don't know what sheets those are. Is there a specific floor?
I just want to zoom in on one of those units to see, could you please tell me let's look at one of the street front units. There we go, or like an enlarged unit plan, there we go. So this is looks like a studio unit. So how do you envision people experiencing that space when, that window looks directly out onto the street? Is there going to be some blinds down on the street level over that window for privacy, or?
I don't know if blinds will be provided as,
Yeah, there's rolling mesh blinds included at every resident unit window.
Okay. Can you tell me where you would imagine a bed and a table going in this?
I'm sorry, is this part of ABR's purview to talk about
Technically,
interior
it's not.
layouts of units? Yeah.
Technically, it's not part of our purview to talk about furniture layout. But if it has something to do with the exterior details, maybe you can tie it all together.
Well, actually, I do see this as in ABR's purview, because the reason I'm asking about this is because, the exterior facade and the experience of the street is directly related to what's going on the interior of any building. And so I'm trying to understand, what that's going to really look like when someone's walking down the street and looking into this unit. Because when I look at this, there's some questions about what the nature of that, the privacy levels, the comfort levels.
Do you happen to have a section through the front showing the interaction between the street level and the units on the ground floor?
Yeah, let's see if I can get to that sheet.
And just while we wait for that, Board Member Anderson, if maybe you want to rephrase your question to have it directly relate to the exterior of the building, to get out what you're getting at in a manner that's within the purview of this board.
Yeah, and mind you, this is final approval, so it's like detailing type questions of, window stuff,
If it's not a cut section, the civil plans call out the grades.
So, I mean, really the massing has been approved.
Yeah, I don't think his concerns about the massing, I understand the concern about walking along the street and what you're gonna see, but I believe we did discuss this at one of the meetings, and the elevation between the ground floor and where the street level, there is a difference, and we added planting in between to try to accommodate some of that visual concern. So hopefully we can look at that section quickly. But again, we are here for final, so it's really in substantial conformance to the plans that we granted last year, design approval, and the comments that we had requested, the details we requested at the last meeting.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we've got an accurate section at the front of the building that shows that relationship.
But we did talk about the landscape there and the
We
height
did,
of those
we
plants
did.
at like 7 feet. Do
Yeah,
you
so,
remember that
so
at all?
because the building is located within the flood zone, we've had to raise the finished floor at the ground floor and push the building back and added that landscape buffer, if you will, to help provide that privacy between the sidewalk and the couple of ground floor units that front onto the street.
Does that help answer?
I think there's 2 units that front onto the street.
Because I don't think we can control how someone puts a bed in there, but.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of have some preconceived ideas, I think, on how someone will arrange furniture, but that's up to the tenant to decide how they lay out a unit.
Okay, well, these are just questions. Another question I have is, did we ever see the Edwards and Plunkett building in this as a precedent, or somehow how this building is related to it? Because it was in the original, in the narrative of this that was brought up.
Board Member Anderson, through the chair, the adjacent historic buildings are part of the project design approval findings where you make compatibility with the neighborhood. So that's why we bring them up, so that you're aware of them. And when you make those findings, you're considering them when you consider overall neighborhood compatibility. And so those findings have been made again.
So there is that, are you saying it's on us to then kind of go look at those buildings, or?
Yeah, it was part of the original, a few of the meetings in the very beginning. We went through site context and neighboring buildings and had the historic report. So.
And we had
yes.
renderings, from around the
With
building
the
that showed
buildings
the
in it.
context.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, I do remember
buildings.
that, and I remember asking to see more of the context, and I think it was kind of like, just like a massing context at the time, and to see more of that in the drawing. So that's why I was asking if we have any of that information shown, but,
Yeah, this final approval set does not show any of that context.
okay.
We're-
All
We
right, well,
felt that we were past that point.
those are my questions.
Okay, Board Member Sofrin, do you have questions?
Just one. How do you feel about the use of using vinyl windows? Do you think that they're the right use for this the best product for this project?
And I just want to clarify, the ground floor will have aluminum storefront. So the second to fourth floors will have the vinyl. So given that, yes, we feel like that is an appropriate, given the sample here, yes, we feel that they're appropriate, yeah.
Okay.
There is a precedent set, they're used on other buildings around town, so, yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Vice Chair Whalen?
No questions.
Board Member Six?
Yeah, two questions. The vents on the front building are very nicely organized, sized, and aligned. Are those drawn accurately and sized? And
They are.
They don't.
They are.
They aren't dependent on the Louvre schedule.
That is correct. They are shown accurately.
Accurate. Okay,
Yes,
thanks.
Yeah.
And this particular Anderson vinyl window, is that a composite? Is it a vinyl fiberglass, or is it fully vinyl? There's a very distinct quality between the two, and I'm hoping that it is the composite.
I do not know the answer to that, but we will look and
Give
see
me a
if we can
minute, I'll
find it.
try and find out.
Okay.
Well, following up on that, are they paintable? Because some of these have limited warranties, especially when they're not white. Do you know?
There's a 20-year warranty
20-year?
on the
Okay.
frame and 10-year on the glass, I believe.
Okay.
I'm through with my questions.
Okay. Was there anything, in your opinion, that might change because of the stormwater that was mentioned in the beginning?
I'm not aware of anything.
No, I
Okay.
think that had been brought up, but we'd addressed it kind of in parallel. It just
Okay.
hadn't been updated on the system side.
Okay.
We don't expect any further changes.
Any follow-up questions? Okay, let's go into comments. They're here for final while you pull up that information. Board Member Anderson, do you have comments?
Yeah, well, my comments are the same as the comments I've made in prior hearings, and so I think that, when I read the general design guidelines and think about the intent of a board like this, for me, I think a lot of the architecture here is trying to make an experience of the city that is one that's distinct and puts beauty forward, and that happens through the experience of the street, walking through the streets, and so architecture serves a public function, and I don't see this building serving or getting anywhere close to aspiring to that function, and I think there's many reasons, but number one, the experience on the ground level is problematic, and I think that starts with the sizing of the units and how small they are and how they have that single window facing out. And, just I'm imagining if this were to be, if I were to walk by this building in some theoretical future, there's probably blinds down on all those windows because the people in there want privacy because that's their bedroom. And it's just kind of this sad ground level facade. So that's my kind of like take on this project. I can't support this project in any way.
Okay. Board Member Soffren?
I think this is a great project. I think you guys have, as we see like the progressions of the meeting, I think you guys have worked hard to, accomplish and, achieve like sort of the comments that the board has made. So I think the project's ready for final approval.
Vice Chair Whalen?
I agree. I think it's ready for final approval, and I just wanted to offer one comment. I had an ex parte conversation with Mr. Cunningham about the street trees. He said that they were able to align them around the front door, but with a reduction in the number of street trees. I don't think you mentioned that, but I really appreciated that effort that he went to.
Board Member Six?
Yes, I really appreciate the effort and the process that this applicant has gone through all the way through from concept to the details here. I appreciate your very good response to all of the last comments for final approval. I think it's ready for approval. I just have a few errata that the keynote 12 regarding oh shoot, I can't remember what it was about, but the keynote 12, it's on the fence. It should read it reads A0.2.1. It should be A01.2. And there is no detail key on your lovely recessed vents anywhere on the plan, so I would like to make sure that those are tied in. And then again, on the weep screed, your detail specifies the sheet A7.2.1. It should be A73.1. And I would really like, because we've made an issue and are concerned about it, I'd really like to see that the vinyl windows are the composite fiberglass windows, if that can be pursued or verified after the final approval.
Board Member Six, through the chair, you could always condition the project to include that if we don't get an answer today on the material proposed.
Would the applicant be struggle with that, given budget and so forth? I have no idea of different costs and so forth.
That's okay if you want to go up there. Just make sure you state your name for the record and turn on, yep, there you go. Thank you.
Greg Wright with the ownership of this project. So this window here is vinyl.
Vinyl, no, not fiberglass, vinyl.
It's not fiberglass. And we like this one for budget reasons. This one's preferable to fiberglass.
Okay, well, okay, so what do we do with that, kids?
Well, it has a longer warranty than most vinyl windows.
Even the fiberglass composites?
Oh, no.
Can I just ask,
Yes.
what is the preference of the composite fiberglass.
They're a better quality, crisper, lasting longer. But I guess we let that go.
Did you say they can be painted in the future if they need to be? Like repaired?
You can, but I think most of the time
You just replace?
you just replace because it just doesn't blend, and
Yeah.
it's gonna look cleaner if you replace it.
Okay, I will let that one go and state again my appreciation, and I think it's ready for final.
Yeah, I agree that it's ready for final and is in conformance with the project design approval. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that this project receive final approval. Just one little request is that you guys go through your details to ensure that the points that Board Member 6 had commented on are addressed and the plans are accurate.
Board Member Sofrin, I think you're trying to say that they're accurate, the references are accurate, just for when we
Yes,
look back on the
so
minutes.
that the
we know what you
references are
mean.
accurate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's pretty good if there's only 3.
Do I have a,
Those are the only ones I've reviewed.
do I have a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion? Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
No.
Board Member Noon. Oh, he's out. Board Member 6,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry, for the record, Board Member Anderson, if you could state your reason for the no vote.
Yeah. Number one, experience of the urban space on ground level. Also, I find the balance of the massing problematic with the amount of blank wall on the storage, among other things like not being contextually sensitive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So, Board Member or Chair Anderson, to the rest of the board, I would like to request I don't know, maybe 5-10 minute recess to see if our IT department can help fix our computer situation really quick. So we can reconvene at 4:15-ish?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, thank you.
2.
Excuse me all.
And we're gonna try to make up some time here, hopefully. So, item 2, 308 West Montecito Street is here for final approval. It's a proposal for 6 two-story duplexes for a total of 12 residential units with 12 bicycle parking spaces. The existing site is developed with a parking lot and no structures. Project is proposed under the city's average unit density incentive program and state density bonus law. Average unit size is 737 square feet and requested concessions for open yard mechanical equipment and mechanical screening requirements. No automobile parking spaces are proposed per AB 2097. Final approval is requested. Project requires substantial conformance to the plans granted PDA by the full board on January 21st, 2025. I do have those minutes. I'm just going to read them quickly so the board's up to date. Study the arrangement of the open bike racks to try to meander the sidewalk and relocate 1 pair of heat pumps. Study the hardscape between Bath Street and trash enclosures, and suggest another alternate species for the Brisbane box as the area is very tight. And then we found the project compatibility findings. Welcome back.
Okay.
Yep, we're jerry-rigging it today.
And it might be quicker to go through this. I had a presentation, so we were originally scheduled in September, and when I went to look, it never actually got uploaded to Acela, but I have a printout. I don't know if we can use. Yeah, I went back and looked. I'd emailed it to you back in September. It's not in Acela because I wasn't able to upload at that time. Yeah, that's fine.
Is that different than what we saw online?
No, so Creeks reviewed the plan, so there were 2 reviews with Creeks. The issue was that there's a 72-hour drawdown period. We were trying to push that and get an exception, so that had to be reworked with Creeks. But nothing on the architecture changed in that back and forth. And then we can go to the plans after to go over the details. This just is a quick graphic to show what changed on the architecture from PDA to final.
In this presentation?
Yeah, because there were some minor changes.
Might be able to pull it up.
Should we just try with the city TV and then,
Yeah, then we can thumb through the plans real quick.
okay.
Yeah.
And you just tell me when to, so please introduce yourself.
I am Lonnie Roy. I'm the agent for the property owner. So this first sheet, first few slides are just going over the comments. So this first slide, as you can see there in the top right corner, is the PEA version where the walkway was straight along the property line, and the bottom larger, correct.
City TV, is it possible to zoom in a little more?
Yeah,
And then
so.
can we center that for City TV? I don't know which way it needs to go. Yes, thank you.
And
Sorry.
Then the bottom site plan is the final version where we meandered that consistent with the other walkway that's going out towards Montecito Street. So next slide. I think I might be able to flip it maybe. Yeah, sorry.
Which one?
Let's see.
This one?
We're going backwards.
Oh,
Here. Yeah.
oh my God.
So other one is the Tristinia tree was substituted with podocarpus. So that's how that comment was addressed. Yeah. So then I'll quickly thumb through the architectural changes, just so you can see what changed. So PDA is on the top, finals on the bottom. So the restroom windows, they were more of a vertical orientation. They changed to more of a horizontal orientation, and that was for privacy purposes. But there are still windows, and they are operable. And then we added a tile surround the kind of opening in the little porch area. Yep. Next slide. So similar change, the bathroom windows were changed to more of a horizontal language. And then the weather covering on the second floor entry for the top floor unit, that was modified. The issue was it had brackets previously, and those, we had head clearance issues, so that is now brought out to the railing and has some posts and a header there, so now that is fully covered. Next slide. So same change on the bathroom windows, and then the railing going up, that was changed to more of a kind of sawtooth. And the reason for that was the handrail would have been exposed going up how they were previously drawn, so we needed to get a little bit more jogs in that railing there, or that wall there. Next slide. So same revision on the wall to screen the handrail, and then the previous plans did have a closet there for water heaters, but it was not shown that elevation, so that is now shown. So similar changes as the others, pretty much the second floor weather covering that's brought out to the railing, the jogs in the wall that was increased, bathroom windows substituted. There was some change in the fenestration there on that third to the right elevation, as you can see, and then the tile was added around that surround on the porch opening. Next slide. And this one, so this is the one that's facing Bass Street. So the unique change on this, this building has the trash room, and before it was kind of a garage door or roll-up door that was changed to just more of a standard access door. And then it had the similar changes to the bathrooms, the tile. There was a window on that second to the left elevation there that was changed to the stucco grill detail. And then the street elevation there at the far right. Same changes with the weather covering bringing out to the railing, and then the increased amount of jogging in the steps. And then next slide. I think these are just comparisons overall. So here are our spec sheets. I don't believe anything changed there. Next slide. Same thing, just giving a comparison. So you can see the walkway that was originally straight on the PDA, and then it's now curved. The other change that I did not mention was there was a comment to add a connecting walkway through the parkway to the street for the trash cans. So that was added at the terminus of that curvilinear walkway out to the street. So that was another change. Yeah, correct. So right there. Next slide. I think it's just the landscape sheet. Yeah, so pretty much the same, just modifying it with that walkway, and then the change to the podocarpus at the north there. And we can switch to the plan set now. So just go to the pages. So that concludes the changes. I'll just thumb through the details real quick. So the intention is to have recessed windows on the street-facing windows, and then the remainder would be flush. We have a rake detail. It's facing the street. Other details. Tile surrounds. And then the spec sheets, which you have already seen. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. We will open up public comment for item number 2.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular project. If anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill out a slip and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so I will turn my attention to virtual comment. And at this time, I do not have any hands raised virtually for comment on this project, and we did not receive any written correspondence. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we'll close public comment for item 2 and go to questions from the board. Board Member 6?
Yes, during, this is here for final, right? We've already given it preliminary. Was there an understanding at preliminary that only the windows at the street side were recessed and the rest of them weren't? I find that very disappointing. That's a question, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be a
sorry.
question. Did
Good
we say that
question.
at the last meeting?
That's what I believe we verbalized. I don't know if it was ever came as a specific comment or anything, but that's how we understood it, or that's what we had proposed.
Okay, that's my question.
Vice Chair Whalen?
No questions.
Board Member Noon?
No questions?
Board Member Sofferin?
No questions.
Board Member Anderson?
Is that light fixture on the door?
Correct, so they would be adjacent to the doors and adjacent to, there's some units that have some small private yards, so they would be adjacent to the sliders.
Because I thought I saw, if you can flip to the elevations, please, I thought I saw it was centered on the door, but maybe I missaw
Let's
that.
see.
As if it were mounted to the door. Maybe this,
I think it's just,
maybe it was on the sheet, the presentation sheet, and not the drawings, yeah?
maybe, should just, so, yeah, let's see if I can zoom out again.
It might have been on the rendered elevations that,
Yeah, so it's against the wall here, so there, you come into like a little entry kind of area, and the door's off to the right here, so the wall sconces
oh, I see.
on the wall adjacent to it.
I
Yeah,
see.
it kind of looks like a door there.
I see, okay. Okay, do you have a detail on the actual cap on that? Can you flip to on the stair, on the parapets or guard around the stair where it's stair stepping?
Yeah, let me see. It's right here.
No, but you have a terracotta cap, I think, on it.
So it's a tile inlay that would be inlaid into the plaster, which yeah is not being shown on here, but that's what the call out is for a tile inlay.
All right. So we don't really have a detail on that. Okay. Is this the weep detail here? Wall type plaster or wall to, no. Where's the weep screed? Can you point to that? The weep screed detail? Please. There it is. 3.
Yeah, I don't think we have that condition. So it would be these two conditions.
Okay, so you'll see the slab on grade. Okay. All right, I think that's it for now.
Okay, I just had a quick question, because I was looking through all your material boards, and I didn't understand where the Sunny Days yellow Benjamin Moore color is. It calls it out as trim, but I don't see where you have trim.
So
It's all
it's
plaster.
the tile would be those colors, and then there's certain ones where that is also the windows would be painted those colors.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not proposed to be kind of an ornate tile. It's just a plain solid color tile, and that would, I think there's some where it's a little different, but generally I think it matches the trim color. which is what the windows would be painted.
So some of the windows are painted yellow.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, in regards to these recessed versus surface windows, if I reviewed the plans correctly, on your wall sections, if you could go through those, detail 5 is your recessed window, and detail 7 is your surface window. Will you show me? And when I perused the plans, I only saw a 5 on the sections. I think they only show on the sections. So I'm dismayed that I don't see and struggling with the occurrence of these surface windows almost throughout the interior project. See, there's one that says 5. Okay, and in that section, lower right hand, lower left hand, I don't see any 7s.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture which section I'm looking for. Let's see. 3. Yeah, I think because this section doesn't go through the window, so there would be a street-facing
What's
window.
the call out on the lower right-hand corner? One.
Which one? Here?
Yeah, what's that, 5?
5. But
Can you show me a 7? And
And
when does the contractor know when it's flush and when it isn't?
yeah, we can clarify that.
Well, I'm getting to the point where, you know, these, if you said it was only a verbalization that only the street side elevations had the recessed, I would like to see the record
Well,
to say that, to see, because, you know, my understanding throughout with these simple, beautiful little boxes, that one of the main attributes that made them acceptable was the recessed window. And now I'm finding that only a few of them have the recessed window. So that's a question.
/ comment. Well, let's go into comments then. They're here for final. So, Board Member 6, you want to reiterate that real quick?
Yeah, I think most of the project, I appreciate the changes on the site plan. I think it's a cute little project, very simple and affordable, but I was under the impression that the windows should be recessed, and I think that is important throughout the project.
Vice Chair Whalen?
I would support those comments of Member 6. I do think these are little jewel boxes, and that every attempt should be made for them to reflect that Spanish colonial revival. My major comment would be it's regrettable that those bathroom windows had to be changed, because they seem to change a lot of the character of the elevations. And if there were some way to make a false frame that was sort of the memory of the previous size and putting the smaller one into it with a recess or something like that, I could wholeheartedly support the project. But as it is, I think it is ready for final approval.
Board Member Noon?
Yes, I agree with the previous comments, and was also in agreement with the unfortunate change to the bathroom windows, but what's been said is enough, and I have no other comments.
Board Member Sofrin?
I agree with Board Member 6, with the previous comments with Board Member 6, particularly about the windows. And, you know, I think the project's ready for final approval, but I personally would condition that all the windows have to be set in instead of any of the windows being flush with the front of the building. I think it would be a better project for that.
Thank you. Board Member Anderson?
I don't have any comments on the architectural details so much. I agree with the former comments. The site plan, to me, still feels a little congested, feels a little tight. But otherwise, I think it's overall, the project is good, nice and simple.
Yep, I agree as well. I would support final with the condition that all windows be recessed, and I would also agree with that comment about the bathroom windows. I think you could go frosted glass and still do your vertical, but that's my opinion. Who would like to make a motion?
Chair Anderson, I would make a motion. First of all, is the applicant acceptable with all recessed windows? Will that?
If that's what's going to take, then yes.
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 Smart
I
response.
love that.
So I would make final approval with the following comments: that all windows throughout the project shall be recessed as in detail 5 on, I think it's A9 or whatever it is, and that the bathroom window receive a inset panel below the window to bring the initial opening to at least a square proportion.
Second?
Any discussion or question? I see your,
I'd like to discuss the second condition on the bathroom windows. I think that President Anderson had a correct vision of the glazing be changed and the previous vertical windows be returned.
And I think there's a technical problem when they put a shower surround in that's a certain height, and you can't interrupt that by
It's in the
dropping the
shower.
window.
Now we're back to technical questions. What drove that change of the windows?
It was that
shower
the
surround.
property owner is intending to use the shower inlays, so the windows have to get up to a certain height. But yeah, we can definitely look into kind of recessing a
So
portion
recess
of the wall.
and do you have an alternate paint color that you're using that could be applied to the recessed?
Not really. We have kind of limited colors. It's kind of just the window
How about
trimmed. Well, there's not really trim, the window frame itself
How about-
and the tile.
think the window frame would be too much, the frame color?
are
I
you
guess I'm
saying to
having-
paint the inlay the same as the frame?
Might be a little bit of too much color.
Let's say that the inset shall be 2 shades darker than the exterior wall color.
The seconder agree with that? Were you listening?
I don't know if I'm going to
Okay.
go that far.
I think it should just say plaster and then, but I think we agree with the inset and making
Okay.
it square.
Yep.
Let's leave the paint
Okay.
out of it.
So,
And this window's square?
Well, the window is the same and the inset creates the square or something.
so I think we should reread the motion, make sure,
Okay.
start there, and then. Is that? Okay.
I have here that final approval is granted with the condition that all windows shall be recessed, and as in the detail, the bathroom window to receive an inset panel below the window to bring the opening to a square.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that makes sense.
Number 1 should say to detail 5. Detail number 5.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, yeah, I did have that.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Noon?
Yes?
Board Member Six?
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to item number 3. 6210 to 6290 Hollister Avenue. It's a one-time pre-application consultation. Design review consultation for revisions to previously approved automobile dealership on Santa Barbara Airport property under Plan 2016-22. Project received Planning Commission approval of a development plan under Resolution Number 004-18 on February 8th, 2018, and final approval by the Architectural Board of Review on May 29th, 2018. This review is a one-time pre-application consultation for comments only. No final appealable decision will be made at this hearing. Project compatibility findings will be required with submittal of a formal planning application for project design approval. Welcome. Hi.
Chair Anderson, if I may, good afternoon, board members. Carly Ernest. I will be the case planner for this project and just wanted to, confirm that it was approved by the Planning Commission and ABR back in 2018, but they're here for a design review consultation before they formally submit their revised design. So for these design review consultations, they're encouraged to submit sketches or conceptual plans just to get that initial feedback. So that's what they're here looking for today, and I'm available for questions.
So, quick question. Because it was approved, are we trying to say it's in any sort of substantial conformance to what was previously approved by anybody?
So when they submit a formal planning application, staff will be evaluating the changes and deciding if it needs a new project design approval or revised project design approval. So at the next meeting, I'll have more information on
So today
that.
is purely about design?
Correct.
And site planning?
Correct.
Okay. Questions?
And on that point, a further clarification, we won't be voting, we'll just be
Yes.
giving comments.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, please introduce yourselves, and you'll have 15 minutes to run us through your design review.
Trish Allen with SEPS.
Lucas Dobbins with Rivian, the tenant applicant.
I'm Brandon Weedwald with Cushman, also partnering with Rivian.
Do you want me to say something introductory?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, good afternoon. It's good to be here with this auto dealership. As stated in the agenda and by Ms. Ernest, that there was a previously approved auto dealership at this location. The date is in the agenda. That project went all the way through to, I think, nearly pulling the building permit. And since then, the project has sat dormant, so there is still an active entitlement. That Planning Commission approval is valid for a period of 8 years with the ability for a 1-year time extension, which has been submitted for and approved by the Planning Division. So this project team was encouraged by city staff and needing to get in front of you as quickly as possible to get some early feedback on the Rivian auto dealership, very different than the last one that a previous board saw. I don't remember if all you were on the board at that time. And so we have a very lean pre-application concept submittal for you. And I'll turn it over to Lucas.
Thanks. Yeah, so we acknowledge that this package and submittal is very preliminary in nature, seeking feedback to effectively modify what was previously approved that was bit more of a fragmented traditional dealership model with front of house showroom, back of house parts and storage, and then ancillary functional parking surrounding the building. Rivian would effectively be looking to reconfigure what was previously approved into effectively one building. All of our operations would happen within the confines of the space, so that would include front of house consumer lounge entry area where we would have 1 or 2 vehicles on display, back of house service, parts and storage, working space, and then effectively interior wash bay for the vehicles as well. There would be no collision repair activities happening here, so it's primarily service for electric vehicles. No combustion engine vehicles would be serviced on this facility. We would also conduct sales activities, so that could be customers coming in to learn about the Rivian brand, to talking about purchase and lease options, to test drives and educational moments of that nature. So that's a very high-level overview. Our programming works a lot better within the confines of one building from a functional perspective, and so it's just a very high level of what we'd be looking to do. I think
wanna
we-
see the rendering?
Yeah, let's go to the rendering.
Oh, just some photos for context
Yeah, this is
there.
the site there. And we also acknowledge that the landscaping does not fit within the nature of this specific environment, so we'd obviously update that. But to give an idea of the general type of buildings that we have been constructing for these types of requirements, this is a prefab metal engineered building that we have typically looked at constructing. As you can see, we've got the front of house area here, and then the balance of the building within the warehouse confines is the service component, wash bay, and the ancillary features. We do like to have consistency across our facilities, and so within our portfolio of ground-up sites, we have leaned into the prefab engineered construction. It is what we found to be most economical, but we have taken different means and methods to construct these buildings, but would kind of be looking to you all to provide comments and feedback on the general design direction, materials used, storefront used, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Does that conclude your presentation?
Yeah,
Even though that's
I'll-
your job to ask.
No,
that.
no.
But we also have the previously approved project plans.
I think
somewhere
what
in
might be
Hopefully
helpful.
it doesn't crash the system. if
Yeah,
pull
we
those
were
up.
sent a link to all those.
Okay.
But what wasn't super clear is what was the existing footprint versus a new footprint. If you could just highlight that when you look at the plan on your first page, where maybe the existing that had been approved.
Speaking from memory, I believe the existing total gross leasable
The
area
whole-
was about 42,000 feet.
Yeah.
We would be trying to maintain the existing gross leasable area, but just in a different format. Parking,
You just need the stuff back? Okay. And the previous project applicant developer was proposing two separate buildings.
Yeah.
And multiple dealerships, you know,
Okay.
within those buildings. So this is, you know, a completely different approach.
Outside of that red dotted line though, that's a protected zone, we can't build it because of their work.
So this is the, runway protection zone here. So the site can only be developed where we're showing this
Okay,
proposed building
yeah.
and then the
think I
parking
was
over here.
confused.
May I see it?
And then where was before your time's up, can you just tell everyone where the rendering was taken from? Where, are you standing on Hollister, looking at that entry
yeah,
approach?
you're
Okay.
standing at the corner of Hollister Ave and David Love Place looking,
Okay.
yeah.
Sort of northwest.
Correct.
At the pine forest in the background.
Yeah, the imaginary forest.
Santa Barbara's known for.
Sorry, I sent you all just a lot of emails about various different things today, so it might have gone very.
That's in the cellar. Not under this case number, under the other case number. It's the gremlins.
Could-
I mean, if that concludes your presentation, we can go into public comment while he's picking, finding that, and then,
Anything else you want to say right now? We'll go into questions and stuff.
Yeah, I will acknowledge that we do have an aggressive timeline that we are pursuing, given the one-time extension that was granted for now expiring February 8th, 2027. So we're just acknowledging that timeframe. that
you have
we're
to get
working
final.
To obtain a permit,
Obtain for building.
building permit.
Damn.
In 1 year.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, that's.
That answers the question.
Yeah,
for me
that's a good
earlier.
one. Okay. All right, we'll open up public comment for item number 3.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular project. If anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill out a slip and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, and at this time, we will turn our attention to virtual comment. and there are no hands raised for virtual comment on this project, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this project. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we'll close public comment and go to questions from the board. I think we should focus on questions and comments that are really helpful to them since they are on a super tight timeline. So let's start with board member 6.
Can I just acknowledge and interrupt? Unfortunately, this was the last previous approved layout on the screen here. So Hollister's bottom of the sheet. Chrysler was here. Future building pad was over here. There was a parts room connected to the front of the dealership, service bay in the back, and kind of empty space over yonder. I can show any other elevations if need be as well, but the existing building is proposed to more or less go in line with the service/parts Chrysler dealership area over here. So
Can you zoom into what does that say along Hollister? Is that parking?
yeah, correct. Yeah. So there's 30. It says there's 32 customer spaces.
Inventory. Oh, got it.
But yeah, they're a little bit set back from Hollister as well. So then I can jump back to the other rendering to kind of show the difference. So same more or less footprint, that other store or that other future building was proposed over here. But yes, relatively similar.
Okay. Board
Pardon
member
my
6.
interruption.
Thank you. Board member 6, questions?
So, I don't get it, but, so everything happens inside the building? You drive in and the customer queue for repairs are within the building? The wash bays are within the building? The bays for repair are within the building? It's, my experience with dealerships and repairs and maintenance is quite a complicated and space-consuming thing, and I don't see where that happens here. Where does it happen?
So, yeah, you're correct. All of these service function activities happen within the confines of the building. So we don't obviously have it in this plan here, but typically customers will drop off their vehicles outside of the space. In our colder climate markets, we do have interior drop-off areas where a customer would physically pull into the building. A service advisor would take over and then take the vehicle into the back repair shop. But the layout is typically 2-post lifts within the confines of the building. In this proposed project, we would probably have something like 5 to 6 2-post lifts within the building.
Well, I'm more interested in the maintenance and repair. I'm driving up with my new car and I have a problem and I want to talk to the supervisor, the coordinator. I drive into the building first and then drive up to a window?
No, we would have a dedicated drop-off area for service customers
so
to drop.
I don't see it. On the plan, I see simple parking. I just, maybe it's the crudeness or the not crudeness, excuse me, that's negative, the early on presentation here, but I don't see any functions that would normally be required for a dealership, and I'm very concerned. All I see is wide standard parking lot. So I don't get it.
I kind of want to interject as well. Rivian spoke with management or our supervisors to kind of just get a general feedback on the design of the project before they submit. So I think that's kind of obviously the focus today. I know some site plan stuff can be figured out in the future. I don't know how much that drives your questions, but I just kind of want to reiterate that it's pretty high level.
I think we understand that, but
yeah.
Site layout and site circulation does impact the design of the project, so that will be a concern.
Yeah, so we will take that away as a note to include on the submittal, but we will have typically 2 to 3 drive-in doors. So those doors might be somewhere along this facade here.
Well, I think the statement is made. I think that we don't need to go further of what you're intending to do. We have to see graphics to see what you're going to do, what. So
We'll take
but
that.
the question had been answered, thank you. And I guess the second question is, are there any, I don't know of any deluxe prefab buildings of, different sheathing or higher design than, your vertical corrugated metal, or are you anticipating any special, except for the cutout and the opening as in the rendering, are you seeing a simple pitch roof down the center? Is that the intention? And if so, are you anticipating any rooftop equipment?
So speaking as an example of this building that we are constructing in another market, it is a simple pitched roof to maintain a specific clear height within the building. Our minimum required clear height is around 18 feet within the confine of the building. Our equipment for HVAC is ground pad mounted. That is the typical design for these types of buildings, not rooftop mounted.
Mm-hmm. So you see the roof as being clean, unobstructed?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Vice Chair Whalen?
First, to comment on the site plan, I believe that this version pulls the building out closer to Hollister. I think that's advantageous. With that row of parking, certainly you want to show off your product. That works well. But where my objections to this proposal really come in is, pardon?
This is a question.
Oh, question?
Do you have a question?
Thought we were going right into it. Okay, no questions.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Board Member Noon?
Just quickly, so this building that you're showing is not the same footprint as the building on the site plan, correct? Or is it just such that we're not seeing that recess behind it?
Correct. This was brought for material.
Yeah.
Guidance more than anything.
Okay, so with that, would you anticipate then that the footprint that you're showing on the site plan is more accurate for your building, and that recess would be overhead doors, would be, I assume it's not going to get any finer detailing like we're seeing on this front corner in that back recess. It's more forgotten, if you will, or?
Yeah, this is like what I would call your jewel box on that hard
Yeah.
corner. That's the design focus. The rest of the building's more ancillary.
Okay. And I shouldn't have said forgotten, but.
Yeah, I knew what you meant, though.
This, what we're seeing on this corner is, that's it. It doesn't carry through the rest of the building.
Correct.
Okay.
Rivian's models, they've got 3 vehicles,
Mhm.
and that's what would be displayed on that hard corner.
Mhm.
The rest would be perimeter, interior.
Okay. I think that's it for now.
Board Member Sofrin, questions?
Yeah, I'm familiar with electric vehicles. I've had both the Rivian and Tesla experience. Am I right in understanding that a Rivian dealership experience is very different than an internal combustion vehicle dealer experience?
Yeah, that's correct. It's all direct-to-consumer sales model.
Yeah, so in a sense, am I right in asking or assuming that in regards to the maintenance, the sort of the service work that would happen on the vehicles, it's very different and possibly a lot more minimal than would be an internal combustion vehicle or diesel engine?
Yeah, that's correct. It's more technologically focused than it is mechanically, although there are obviously mechanical repairs that will happen on the vehicles, but it's a lot less noxious than a typical combustion engine service activity.
Yep. And what do you plan to put on your roof?
So typically it's HVAC units on these types of buildings that we've constructed in the past. Those are going off on pads. It would really be super minimal venting, if not skylights, if that was something that we looked at or needed to have as part of the design function.
Would you be painting your logo on the roof?
We do not have plans for rooftop logos as far as advertising.
Okay, great, thank you.
Board Member Anderson?
What are the materials that we're looking at? So what's the red, brown, orange material? So this project that is exemplary, that was a metal material that was intended to look like faux wood. Okay. And then what about the, is it all metal, I guess, metal panel or some sort of, what's the darker color at the fascias? That is also a metal detail on the building. Okay. Yeah. And then my other question is, did you look at any images of the neighborhood, or do we have any of those here? Or
I could pull up Google Maps, but it's relatively flat and pretty industrial, so.
okay. Those are my questions.
Okay, I have no questions, so comments. We will not be making a motion, so your comments will be going on record. Board Member Six.
Yes, I think, number one, there needs to be a lot more reality to the functions. I appreciate, well, I won't go there, so I'll make it short. There's got to be a lot of site plan work to reflect the actual functions and items that need to be on a site. For example, trash, and you mentioned the ground-mounted units and so forth. I don't think okay, let's shorten it. I appreciate Rivian's consistent branding of this type of building, but it is in Santa Barbara, and I don't think we in Santa Barbara will appreciate the brand, and I think that this needs to reflect the architecture upheld in this area of Santa Barbara, and I don't think that this makes it, period.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Well, Mr. Six, as usual, said what I was going to say. What is it about this building that says and tells me I'm in Santa Barbara? It's perfectly elegant, and I fully realize that you have your branding issues, but I couldn't support a building such as this in what can be an introduction to the city. The building immediately adjacent on David Love Place does this, not in strict Santa Barbara style, but in those materials. Even our control tower tries its best to be Spanish colonial revival. And I would like to see some of those colors, materials, forms, gestures, those elements that make up our style of place.
Board Member Noon?
I would agree with those comments and just add, that the side of the building that we're not seeing that's going to be highly visible forever, because that space will never get developed. It escapes me now. The red outlined area was flight. Yes. So just to reiterate what they said, that it's gonna that'll be a visible side, and it should get as much attention, maybe not as much, but certainly attention as the front.
Board Member Hoffman?
Yeah, I think that when I look at the surrounding structures, I do not feel that the structure clashes too much. There are we do have our rules in Santa Barbara with Spanish colonial revival, but I think that it could also look terrible if you tried to incorporate that into sort of what you're trying to do with this facility. So, and I think that looking at a lot of other structures around the airport, I see this actually being a little cohesive with hangars and sort of that environment. I do think that there could be a lot done, which you already mentioned with landscaping, even sort of trying to sort of address Commissioner Noon's comment sort of about that western facade, and maybe that would work out. But those are my comments.
Board Member Anderson?
My comments are just that it does seem a little placeless, and the material palette, I think, could be dialed in a more interesting way that's more specific to this area. I don't necessarily think that this building has to look like a white plaster, red terracotta roof building, as I know some of the dealerships here do that, and do look like that. But I think there could potentially be moments that are a little more site specific, just like quickly off the top of my head, like that, all that red, maybe that's terracotta or something, you know. There could be precedents for this type of building in the area, agrarian style buildings, I don't know. And I don't think it is super architecturally pleasing for me, but, you know, I know that maybe that's my taste, and it is kind of like, it's a little generic in my opinion, because there's no expression of, there's not a lot of shadows on the elevations. There's just like this one red corner. And so it kind of has, again, a kind of placelessness to it that, you know, is not, in my opinion, super exemplary architecturally. But in terms of the massing and the site planning, I think, probably it fits the area in terms of the massing compatibility.
I would follow up with, I think the massing is appropriate for the area. I think that the agrarian gable form is also appropriate for the area, as mentioned with the airport hangars. I do agree that special attention needs to be paid to the materiality, the detailing, the things we're going to be looking at, like site circulation, location of equipment, utilities, trash, landscape. What are we seeing from the street? What are we seeing from all the elevations? How does that relate to Santa Barbara and to the area? But I do think that, in my opinion, this could fit into the neighborhood and location.
One more comment. I'd recommend that you also do a comprehensive context analysis. It might help if you were able to demonstrate that there is more compatibility than the board might feel today by citing some examples around the area. Thank you.
And then I'll just follow up real quick, and then we'll come to you guys. One other thing I thought of, because I have visited some of your facilities in other cities, and it's that interaction and experience with the outdoors, especially in this location, we can do that. So how does that bring in people? How does that interact with your site circulation and people coming from their cars and the whole experience? Okay, yes.
I'd like to refine my comment to not be misunderstood, that this doesn't make it doesn't mean that it needs to be a Spanish colonial red tile. I think that there's a lot of room in the area for a very industrial and simplified building of this simplicity, but there needs to be something special about it.
Yeah.
I would make a couple of suggestions that the designers look at the work of Julia Morgan in San Simeon. There's a whole array of warehouses that she did for that complex. And it also seems to me that Mission Revival sort of warehouse might be some inspiration to you.
Okay, any follow-up thoughts, comments? Okay, thank you. Good luck. Hopefully. Okay, and moving on to item number 4. This is a new item for concept review, 34 Los Patos Way. Proposal to demolish the existing 2-story, 5-unit residential building, associated parking lot, and portion of driveway, and construct a new 2-story, 5-unit residential building totaling 6,103 square feet. The new building consists of 3 2-bedroom units, 1 1-bedroom unit, and 1 accessory dwelling unit. The project includes 7 covered parking spaces, a trash enclosure, and a mechanical room. Site improvements include a new driveway apron, site paving, and landscaping. The project requires staff hearing officer approval of a coastal development permit and zoning modifications for relief from open yard, parking, and setback standards. No final appealable decision will be made at this hearing. Project will require compliance with the project compatibility findings, urban design guidelines, and outdoor lighting design guidelines. Hello.
Thank you, Chair Anderson, and we will hand over the keyboard and mouse to the applicant so they can control the plans. But I'm the case planner for this project, and the application is still incomplete, so working out some various comments from different land development team reviewers, and just here for concept review before going to the staff hearing officer. So in your motion, if you can please comment on the requested modifications today, just the open yard and setback one. You do not need to comment on the parking one. I mean, you can talk about the parking layout, but not that it's, you don't need to get into the parking demand study and all that. But I'm available for questions, and I'll turn it over to the applicant. Thank you.
All right, please introduce yourselves, and you will have 15 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Chair and board members. My name is Roxana Bonderson. I'm the land use planner for the project here at 34 Los Patos Way. And I will introduce our architect. This is...
Good evening. Good evening, Tom Oxner, architect.
Thank you. So jumping right in, this is a 0.26 acre flag lot. And I will do my best to guide some visuals as I introduce the project, but I'm going to spend the first part of this presentation just briefly introducing the site. This is a property that is found in the HRC2 zone, and it's currently developed with a 2-story, 5-unit apartment building with 7 uncovered parking spaces. One of those parking spaces is found in the setback. And I'm going to ask Mr. Oshner to just guide the storytelling of the site while I go through the photos.
Yes, this is approximately 9,000 square foot flag lot. The existing structure the owners have been struggling with for many years. It's difficult. It was not constructed well. It's a 5-unit that pushed too far north into the site. As you can see, the parking, you really can't get in and out. It's only 27 feet, so the vehicles can't even pull in 90 degrees. So in struggling with what to do with this, we thought it'd be a good idea just to reconfigure the site in basically the same footprint, but to pull more of the program to a second floor and introduce an upside-down plan, which would take advantage of the bird refuge lagoon views and introduce a roof deck that would really compensate for how tight the flag lot is, and that in complement with the bird refuge and the great walking around there, I think might work out well for meeting that criteria.
And what you see here on the screen is the existing survey, just kind of describing what Mr. Oshner just introduced verbally. And going back to the site, this is the, let's see, what's the best picture? I'm trying to see. The one on the bottom left-hand corner would probably be the best introductory image, kind of walking up that long flag lot driveway from Los Patos. But I will jump right into what we're proposing, and if we need to come back to this, I'm happy to discuss. Our proposal replaces those 5 units with 5 new units, 4 primary units and 1 ADU. These and this is consistent with SB 330, so there's no net loss of housing. And because of the flag lot geometry, the narrow 10-foot wide driveway, and the limited developable envelope, the project requires 3 zoning modifications. The first request is for outdoor living space modification to allow exclusion of the required on-grade common open area. The code requires a contiguous 15-foot by 15-foot on-grade common open area. That's 225 square feet in a single block. On this flag lot, the combination of the 93-foot long driveway, 10-foot width driveway, and the required building footprint to replace all 5 units, and the need to accommodate covered parking and circulation, means that there's no feasible location to carve out a 15 by 15 contiguous common area without either losing required units, compromising access, or eliminating the necessary parking. Instead, the project provides a distributed open space strategy that significantly exceeds minimum requirements. To give you a quick introduction or review, the private outdoor living space for this project, actually for any project, typically a 2-bedroom unit requires 84 square feet on this lot. Our Unit A is providing 51, I've said that incorrectly. It requires 84, we are providing 511 square feet of private roof deck. Unit B similarly would require 84 square feet. We are providing 545 square feet. You kind of see where this is going. Typically, 1-bedroom unit requires 72 square feet, and in our case, Unit C and D then receive 545 square feet and 511 square feet respectively, which I'll show you in just a moment. Lastly, all private open yard meets or exceeds the minimum 6 by 6 dimension and far exceeds the required areas. For on-grade open space, the code requires 10% of the lot area on grade, which in our case would then be 898.7 square feet required. This project provides 1,708 square feet of on-grade open space, which is over 800 square feet more than required. So this combination of the private roof decks and excess on-grade open space offers residents more usable, flexible, and private outdoor areas than a single small common pad would, especially on a compact infill site like this. From an ABR standpoint, the question is whether this configuration provides high-quality living environment and is compatible with the site and neighborhood. So I'm going to turn it over to our architect to walk through how these private open spaces and roof decks are integrated in the building mass and so on. And I just would like to ask you to tell me, would you like me to go to the floor plans?
Let's go to the photo sim on the next page. Actually back up.
Sure.
One more. This is good here. We can zoom in. So we've got 3 shots here. The top photos are existing and the bottom ones are the same one with the superimposed model of the building. So we chose an architectural style that would blend into the background, introduce some wood and a rhythm that kind of makes it go away a bit. You can see the existing structure is a white stucco with a low-pitched roof. And we're looking to, again, create sort of the living space on the second floor. We'd have about a 9-foot plate on the first floor as we transition up to the second floor. And then these units would feature a roof deck, and if we want to go, yeah, there we go. They'd feature a roof deck with an internal stairway that would go all the way to the roof to really incorporate the vertical circulation into the roof, and a small tower, which is really a light shaft and introduces a large north window that faces the train tracks to bring and flood the center of that upper living space with natural light from the north side. And the parking then would be below the structure, and we would have 7 spaces in van loading. It really acts like 2 duplexes, but it's not. So we've got the accessibility requirement, which translates into a loading space. Let's see, so The rhythm of the architecture is designed to provide some articulation between the four units and to bring as much natural light and view from the main living space, but still create a soft impact to the presence from Los Patos as well as the neighborhood. We've got the post off to the east, which is has its parking lot, and we kind of, our easterly elevation as we get to the elevations presents itself on that side. The Magic Castle, the old Magic Castle, is directly south between us and the lagoon, and that potentially,
Can I take over?
oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
May I?
Absolutely.
Mr. Oshner is going into so much detail. Let me show it to you in drawing form. So he's actually led directly into the next modification, which is our setback modification. And I'd like to direct your attention to I'm trying to figure out exactly how to do this. I'm going to do my best to zoom in here. So this second request is a setback modification to allow covered parking to encroach into the interior setback at the northeast corner of the development, which is back here in this corner. It sits at the back corner farthest from the entry driveway, which, as you can see, comes here. It's a 93-foot long driveway before it arrives at the parking area. And it's nearest to the railroad track. So if it's not clear, the railroad track is right here beyond the property line. And the adjacent use at the shared property line over this corner here is a commercial use parking lot. So there's no residential uses nearby, and therefore, just to be very clear, it's not disturbing any residential use in this area. And the strict application of the interior setback would make it impractical to be able to fit those required number of covered parking spaces, the circulation, and also to preserve the building footprint needed to replace all 5 units. More importantly, something that ABR is always interested in is the fact that this corner is not visible from any public view, and that it tucks in really nicely into the back corner, which is part of the structure and the mass itself. Lastly, just being sensitive to time, I'm going to introduce the parking in mod, but not asking. I don't know where the limit is. You can stop me, I guess.
Let's skip over the parking modification and we can get into that during questions, but
Okay.
It's just to reduce the required parking by 2 spaces, which doesn't have really design implications. It's more of a looking at it with transportation and parking demand.
Yes, and I think the only thing I wanted to mention about it, and we'll leave it at that, is that reduction is necessary due to the fact that this project requires a van accessible parking space and dedicated access aisle under CBC standards. So once that is placed, there's no more space feasible to add the parking spaces or to accommodate on-site, the on-site 15 by 15 open space. So I guess I'll just try to wrap up, and then I'm going to come back to my architect for any comments that he would like to add. So I just wanted to quickly sort of summarize by saying that these modifications that we're requesting allows the project to maintain the 5 dwelling units, including an ADU, and modernizing the outdated building. It provides substantially more private and on-grade open space than required, even without that 15 by 15 common pad. It integrates covered, screened parking that meets accessibility standards and improves the visual character of Los Patos Way. It remains largely hidden behind an existing development, which you may have seen in the pictures, but we can always circle back if needed. And it preserves that visual character along Los Patos Way. Lastly, it benefits from the proximity of the bird refuge, East Beach, other public recreation areas, and public transit, supporting a more walkable, lower parking demand pattern. So hopefully, taken together, these modifications enable a high-quality, context-sensitive residential project on a constraint site that is consistent with the city's design guidelines and long-term housing goals, And it's important to note that it's the only residential use among a neighborhood of otherwise commercial uses. I'm going to swing back to my architect to perhaps touch on other important things, maybe the landscape plan or
Yes,
other
maybe
comments. Where
go
should
to
I
the
go?
exterior elevations for a minute, and then we'll go to landscape plan.
Bear with me. This does not come natural to me. Sorry, guys. What did you want?
Well, the landscape plan's good here, so you're looking at the roof deck there. So the idea on the roof deck is to enter from the same location as the stairs that come up, and then we would have some rooftop screening to the train tracks to the north, and then the additional roof beyond that. And to the lagoon side, the south side, we would have more of a lounge area and some integrated planning between the units themselves. Okay, maybe and then at the ground level, we've got an opportunity. Is that the? Yeah,
Yes,
that
this
is the
is the
ground
sec-
level.
yeah.
So yeah, we've developed it beyond this, but we've got some medium-sized trees and hedges between the units on that south side to help provide some privacy from that lower bedroom as it looks out to the south. And you can see it a little bit from these elevations. So we've got the roof deck is approximately 20 feet from the grade, and then we've got the rooftop access is set back from that. You can see the architecture introduces a little bit of plaster as it works its way around to the east and the west, and then against the train tracks, we introduce more stucco along that side.
That's here.
Yes, and I think that's it.
I think so too. Not bad for our timing. Thank you. This one?
Okay, we will open up public comment for item number 4.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I do have a slip for this particular item. Miss Arlene Larson, if you can approach the podium, you will have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you. It's probably too early to be worrying about this, but my concern is, will the retaining wall be changing, or is that all above and beyond the retaining wall that's there now?
We'll come back and answer your question after your 2 minutes.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I don't know how the heck they're going to be able to do that construction without, right in front of their retaining wall is all my parking space, and then my building. I'm having a heck of a time with the post and their parking. Everyone's parking in front of our building. The trucks are unloading in front of our building because there's no loading stuff by the post area there. And where their employees will be parking, where their heavy equipment will be parking, the whole post area is taking all the parking lot on the streets. So that's my big concern, is the construction of it. I hope after 6 years to be opening the building, it's all going to be private parties, very small, very quiet, very intimate, and very elegant. To have construction going on is going to be very difficult. During the day, we hope to have magical tea parties. In the evening, an evening cocktail dinner or appetizers, music, and a lot of magic. And that's very quiet. In the evening, I'm not worried because you won't be doing construction. But during the day, how to do an elegant little quiet tea party with jackhammers and trucks and everything else. But my big concern is that driveway. The easement, we had to sign a release, first option for selling because it overlapped our driveway and their driveway. So that means they're going to be going over to my driveway with the heavy equipment, and I was hoping to be able to do some blacktop work around there. So those are my main concern.
Okay.
I'm very flexible too, though. If I know when they're going to be working, I can reschedule my parties to be different days.
Yes.
So, and
Okay.
it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. At this time, I have no further slips for comment on this. I'm going to turn my attention to virtual attendance. And at this time, I do not see any hands raised for virtual comment on this project. And we did not receive any written correspondence. So at that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we will close public comment for item 4. Would the applicant like to respond in regards to the retaining wall? And any thoughts on the construction methods?
Yes, the retaining wall is well off the property, and we're not touching that. We have a mat foundation that will handle any surcharge on there, so that's not an issue. I presume it's the retaining wall to the south. And
It's not shown on this drawing, but let me get to it.
it's on the survey.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
So it would be that wall down. You can see that lower, see the edge of where the parking lot hits the topo right there? Yeah, it's down there.
That line right
Yeah,
there.
so it's not, we have a mat foundation above that
So
with
it's
a
not,
micro
the
piles.
existing is staying?
It's staying.
Yeah.
And I can probably answer the other question, which regarding how construction would be handled. My understanding, and Ms. Ernest, feel free to correct me, that would be handled in the conditions of approval. The hours of construction, where vehicles would be allowed to park and such, correct?
Correct. Those are all standard conditions of approval related to construction, timing, and equipment staging areas.
Sure. So I would encourage the applicant to talk with the neighbor so that you guys can coordinate and be nice neighbors.
We did, we gave her an
Okay.
easement to handle her issues, yes.
And most importantly, if I may just add, from my, again, Ms. Ernest, correct me if I'm wrong, none of this equipment would ever be resting on their property at any point. That would not be allowed in conditions of approval unless arranged. Is that correct? They should not be worried that the equipment would be then on someone else's property. Is that right?
That's correct. That equipment staging happens either on the property or in the public right-of-way with a public works permit.
With a permit? Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go to questions from the board. Vice Chair Whalen, would you like to begin?
Well, certainly I'm interested in what a magical tea party is, but I think that's aside. A couple of questions on the open space. Mr. Oshner, you have any idea what the materials would be for the rooftop open spaces?
Yes, that's a great question. I'm still looking at options up there. I think what we're doing is we're going to go to a very durable, one-ply walkable surface up there. That's where we're headed with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Ms. Bonderson, you talked about 1,000-plus square feet of ground-level open space. Could you go through the plan and show us where that is and how that number was achieved?
Of course. That was simply achieved by the areas that are ultimately,
You'll have
for
to-
lack of a,
You have to use the cursor,
yes, sir.
which is...
I was going to say, if you could just follow anything that has landscaping, it's a compilation of the spaces that are green, including this area here. It's just a compilation of open space.
And so right where the cursor is,
Yes.
that's where that retaining wall is?
It's down here
It's right there.
along this edge, which is the end of
Okay.
the property line, of course.
Now I have a clear understanding. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair Anderson, if I may, and I haven't communicated this to the applicant yet because it's going to be a correction in their upcoming letter, but for the common or the on-grade open space requirement, it actually cannot include any of the area in the setback, so most of that landscaping that you're seeing will be excluded from that calculation, but that will just be included as part of the open yard modification request.
So in future presentations, we'll have a recalculation of that area?
Correct, but
Thank you.
I think the goal for today is if you can just comment on overall thoughts on the request for reduction of outdoor living space requirements, considering that there is a reasonable amount provided on the rooftops and that exceeds the private outdoor living space requirement.
Thank you, Ms. Ernest. Appreciate the help.
Okay, board member 6, questions.
Yeah, so one question I have is, in order to provide an open yard, quote-unquote, needs green and shade, are you doing anything special for the depth of the planters on that rooftop to provide adequate living and healthy trees and bushes?
So yes, good question. Chris Gilliland is our landscape architect, and we have a more developed plan than this. The idea would be to create raised potted planters of similar material to the building and develop very lush landscape planting. The rooftop decks are accessed by a very elaborate stairway system, so the intent here is really to get the quality of life to extend to the rooftop here.
So the planters will, the bottom of the planters will be at the roof deck?
They will be.
Oh, added depth to the planters.
They will sit above the roof deck, so there may be 30 inches tall planters with landscaping in them.
Thank you.
Board Member Noon?
No questions.
Board Member Soffren?
No questions.
Board Member Anderson?
Can you flip to the sections, please?
Of course. Here they come. Do you know which one you'd like?
I thought I saw a few in here
Is
that,
there one that you're preferring?
yes, if you flip maybe up one or two.
It was
or
this one?
I thought there was a rendered section, maybe
Let me
not.
see. No, there won't be any further. There's only two renderings.
All right, let's,
One is going north-south, one's going east-west. This one is the one that's going towards Los Patos.
all right, let's look at this one then. So, you were mentioning a bird refuge, right? So,
It's over off the page, over the, kind of where Miss Ernest is.
okay. So from, when you're on the terrace, what do you look at when you're up on the top of the building?
Well, first and, on the very top, you'd be looking over let me go to a site plan. It would be easier if I can get one of the vicinity plan as zoomed in as possible. So if this helps, again, I have a control, let's see how close I can get. Hopefully this will help us. Okay, so this is the existing building, but say it's more or less in the general same location. You'd be looking off the balcony over this building, over the road. There's a parking lot here, and then the bird refuge is even off of this image. It's down here. Are you familiar with this area?
Yeah, this is near the lagoon, right?
Yes, you have
That's
like
towards
Stella
East
Mares
Beach.
over here and the exit off-ramp of the 101 where you have to fit underneath the,
Yeah, I remember
yeah, generally that
we-
area.
we looked at a project that came through here a while ago about reclaiming the railroad or something, remember?
That's, yeah,
that-
that's right.
that-
And just to give you some context, if you went this way, almost to where Miss Ernest is sitting, you have the new roundabout that was recently
Yes.
completed. Okay.
Yeah, I know where it is. So is there, I'm just trying to understand the neighborhood compatibility a little bit. Is the building planned south, because you mentioned this is all largely commercial zone. What is the programming for that building?
We would have to ask our guest.
That's your building? Okay.
Private club.
I see, a private club, okay. Oh, wow, okay. And then can we flip back to the section once more?
Yes.
I do want to see.
Give me a second, but yes, of course. Oops. Okay. I'm getting faster. Almost there.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of these rooftop planters. Is it cutting through the planters in this one? or
It
doesn't
is. So the planter that Mr. Oshner was describing as approximately 30 feet would be also acting as a protection wall, so you don't go falling off the building. So it would meet the railing, the height by code, which would also give the depth of the planter itself.
I see.
For
So-
drainage, for dirt, and so on.
So this is a 42-inch deep planter. Okay.
Sorry, I don't have the numerical values memorized, but yeah, you got it faster than I do.
No, no worries. It's a guard, and I'm just curious with the visibility, and so,
As somebody standing there looking over?
yeah, or looking up, yeah, either one. So let's look at the architecture a little bit, the materials and the style. So where does the style or
I have
the
to go the other
choice
way
in
just a
the
second.
the material? Yeah, these
Yeah,
are good.
sure.
Where does the yeah.
Okay, so that planter you were looking at was between the units. So the guardrail, there's a guardrail on the roof deck, on the edge of the view we're just describing. Yeah, let's zoom in on that. That's perfect. So there we can see the planters are between the units running north-south, and there's a glass guardrail on the deck. So you'd be looking through that guardrail, the 42-inch high glass guardrail to the lagoon and then beyond to Cabrillo Boulevard. Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit.
I see.
And this is facing, that's matching the section that we just talked about? So this would be facing the lagoon?
So, and what's the material here? We've got these, it's like rammed earth or something, or it's bands of what? That's a,
For the exterior materials?
The exterior architectural material?
yes.
Yes, so what we've got is we've got a simulated wood in AZEC.
Okay.
And so that will be a horizontal butt joint that wraps its way. That's what you're looking at with the brown. And then we've got a bronze anodized metal with the fascias and the window units, the window walls. And then we've got a plaster material, probably has a little texture to it.
Okay. And then, yeah, so was there any, just out of my own curiosity, and there doesn't have to be, but was there any particular precedent for that material palette that you were looking at?
Yes, yes, there was. So the wood itself, we wanted something that would be deeper, that would kind of disappear in the backdrop. The photo simulations do a good job of kind of helping out with how the palette itself kind of lets the building settle back in the depth of its context. And then the dark anodized kind of adds a sort of a frame to it, allowing the glass in between the wood vertical elements to not overpower the elevation. So the idea is to recess that glass and to create enough of a framework that kind of settles into that deep backdrop. And that's where we kind of came up with sort of the organic contemporary feel to the architecture.
Okay.
And if I can piggyback, I just want to show you what it looks like if you're standing out on Los Patos Way. So the materials, the goal was, as Mr. Oshner just said, to get it sort of to blend into the nature back there, and that's where it would be sitting. So right now it's white.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing in the natural colors is intentional. And you wanted me to do...
Well, you have a simulation, right, on the
We
next
do have a
sheet,
simulation.
I
where it's
apologize,
rendered
it's-
in there, so it might be helpful
It might
just
be
to
better.
show
Sir?
everyone.
I like that you know that faster than I do that. I think it's that one, right?
No.
Sorry.
Let's keep going. Right.
There you
it
go.
is.
Oh.
Yeah,
Now
right there.
zoom
Now
into the down on the
zoom
bottom
into
right.
the lower middle, I think, that lower
Oh,
middle photo.
you're absolutely right. Thank you for that.
And then that helps
Talk
out.
about-
Zoom up, yeah, go up. And so if you zoom into that one right there,
Thanks.
you get that helps illustrate the subtle contrast of the palette against its backdrop.
I see. Okay. Well, let's zoom in on that a little bit more.
Not at all? Of course. Do you prefer this one or the one next to it? Okay. Actually, both of them can be seen.
I think a little more of a zoom is helpful.
You got it. Okay. Okay.
All right.
And then maybe end of the one on the right. There you go.
Okay. Thanks.
In regards to the wood material, you said simulated wood. What is it, aluminum, or what is the actual material?
So it's simulated wood has come a long way, and I've used it in marine environments quite a bit, and it's really great stuff. It's not cheap. It doesn't fade. It's even structural. I can bring in samples. But
Is it thermally modified wood? Is that what you're talking about? What, I guess
it's
I'm
not
just-
real wood, no.
Oh,
It's not
real at
thermally
all.
modified wood.
Okay.
It's a synthetic wood.
Okay.
It's like a composite.
It's composite.
Oh,
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, can you bring in a sample?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I'd be, if it feels like plastic, it might look like plastic.
You'll be surprised.
Okay.
I know that doesn't do it justice, but it's just a
No.
flat image.
And then question, would you be open to on your site section outlining the neighbor to your south, just so we can see visuals and sight lines?
Yes, absolutely.
Those are my only questions. Any other questions before we go into comments?
May I ask a clarification question? You're just talking about the
The site section.
That goes to the street, correct?
The
We're talking
north-south
about that.
section,
You got
yeah.
it.
I mean, it would be helpful on your site plan to show if there are any neighboring structures, the outline.
Well, I have one more, but one, just from looking at this a little more, is there any concern, I guess, that, because it is, with the glass, it is very visible to kind of look back into that, and these are residences, so is there any sort of anticipation of creating some sort of screening for privacy so that you don't feel like people are kind of, or are there going to be blinds down a lot of the time,
Well, that's a good question. I'm hoping we won't need blinds. It really is an amazingly private area when it pulls back like that. And there may be vertical blinds for sun control primarily, I would anticipate. I'm not really concerned about the privacy relative to just being exposed in that location. It's predominantly in the living areas, but sun control, we've tried to pull the glass back except for the two ends underneath deep overhangs. But yeah, that's something we're keeping an eye on, yes.
And I would just add that there's a significant slope that it's higher up, so yes, you could see at an angle, but you wouldn't see as much as if you were on eye level, clearly.
Okay.
May I just ask you one more clarifying question about the site, the section requirement that you've asked for? We're happy to do it. On both sides of the future building, there is parking lots, so I'm guessing you don't need the section in this direction, just the one that's immediately adjacent in the north, in the south.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you for that.
Okay, comments.
Okay.
Vice Chair Whalen, you're here for a concept.
Yes, thank you. Just two comments. I'm not sure that I can support a reduction of the outdoor living space requirement, seeing that, well, there really isn't any on ground level. And I'm concerned that the personal rooftop spaces, the quality of those spaces, I'm concerned that they really aren't that great. More than anything, there's nothing that says Santa Barbara about this. The cemetery is very close. Those are George Washington Smith buildings. And there is a new housing proposal by DMHA just up Channel Ride that has more of a, well, the San Diego, anyways, Irving Gill, thank you, appeal to it. So those are really my concerns, the imagery and the quality of the open space. And with that, I have to depart.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. Board Member 6.
Yes, I think it's a very nice, handsomely designed project. I have no problems with the site areas and so forth. If we are, one concern about the granting the modification for the open yard is that the quality green shade of the rooftop. And if you can't increase the depth of the planters, I think we should see more width and area of planters up there. I see you've limited it to some extent. So if, what we don't get in height with trees not getting the depth of roots, we get in width and with a medium height planting. The other thing that I'm not, as far as overall compatibility, I'm not buying the blending of this into the natural background. You don't have any trees, ability to have trees in front of it. And look long and hard. Right now it's too contemporary for me, and I was wondering what that meant. And I think it's the selection of the materials. I mean, you have The post is white with some, light grayish greens. The other two buildings besides it are, especially the, used to be the gym, is all white. It occurs to me that if this was mostly white, no wood, stucco in your columns and so forth, even your fascias be white, it would begin to kind of look like an Irving Gill modern thing, and it would be much happier in the context of where it is. And I think you should seriously look at that, because I think right now there's the striking contrasts to the rich wood and the black bands of fascias and so forth. It reads too contemporary. And I think addressing it in either white or much, much more pastel colors would have this structure be more compatible with the rest of the buildings in the area. Those are my comments.
Board Member Noon?
Yeah, I don't, I guess didn't have the same issue that was just mentioned of materiality. I thought the wood was nice. I thought it brought a warm feel, and it did sort of hide itself back there. It didn't really jump out. This is getting into the details. Those are pretty substantial depths on the eaves, and if you're doing a metal, like it's a brake metal, I mean, there's would be some concern for that, the warping and the oil canning that, it's probably not the look you want on, when everything else looks so detailed and refined. But that's early. We're early on that, so that was just something I wanted to add. I saw you had some, you were showing some details on there of what that might look like, but, you're going to have gutters and all of that, so I'd be interested to see how that develops.
Board Member Sofferman?
I think the structure and the design are really beautiful, and I like them, but I think they'd be more appropriate at a ski resort in Utah than here. I don't think the project's compatible at all with where it goes. I think it's very jarring, and I don't think it belongs like the structures down there. I don't mind the modifications. I don't mind the function, but I think aesthetically it's very jarring and doesn't belong.
Board Member Anderson?
I don't have too many comments. I think it makes a good use of that site, the way it takes advantage of the views. There's a nice simplicity and a strong directionality to the planning, the site planning, and the elevation too reads really simple. So, like even in this view, I like that it feels a little bit like a pavilion in the site. So I think that does fit that particular neighborhood because it's so related to that bird refuge. So I think it would be nice to both see this project from the road and to live there. My only comment, I guess, is, I don't find the materials problematic so much. There's nothing I have a issue with aesthetically, really. I think some of the planters start to get a little busy on, in my view, like just in this view, for instance, like the ones in front of the units. Maybe there could be a little bit more simplification to like that, like how the building meets the ground. I don't know, but yeah, I don't really want to put a lot of constraints. I feel like there's a lot of clarity in the architecture here that is fine on its own. So that's my comments.
Could you pull up a first floor plan? So my comments would be to study the privacy between units and consider pulling the wood forms forward or south. Right now you have windows that look into each other in units on the first floor.
I'm not seeing, I'm sorry.
On the, if you can go zoom
Can we
into
zoom in on
the
the
first floor.
plan?
All the windows face forward, though. Where it's looking into, help me identify it.
Right there between Unit
Oh, I
E,
see.
ADU, bedroom 1, you got windows looking right at each other on the corner. So I was just,
This corner.
yeah, so
Got it.
my comment would be to just consider pulling the whole wood forms forward, which does break up your fascia, but just, I would just study that. I would study maybe looking at all of the materials as white. Maybe it's still wood and it's white, and maybe it's the fascia's white. I don't know. You can do matte white nowadays. So maybe look at that and just see how it feels. But on its own, I think the architecture does look nice. On the east and west elevations, I would consider keeping the same language with your fenestrations. So your bedroom windows have a certain head height, but then your kitchen window goes all the way up to the ceiling, but it's still in a plaster form. So I would just consider maybe matching the kitchen window to the bedroom windows. I would study looking at bringing the fascia on the east and west elevations all the way through that covers the covered parking openings. And then I would also study on the east and west elevations, there's some misalignment between a wall and some windows in the rooftop above, and just seeing if that could align. And like I said, adding in the site section, adding that south building, I could support the modifications. And I would study if you're gonna need a trellis on the rooftop and how that would impact your height.
You mean for shade?
For shade. And I would also consider a pedestal system on the roof. I know that makes the roof heavier, but just consider it.
They're nice. They're elaborate.
I know. Okay. Those would be my comments. Who would like to make? Yeah.
I resonate with, I get a sense that some of us don't see the compatibility quite yet with the striking designs and materials. And you mentioned, Chair Anderson, bringing the divisions between the openings out. That might even begin to read as, a more mass-based with a white surround and a black opening, which really would tame this thing down. And you might consider looking at that. And, again, the height of the windows, making a standard pop-in in a stucco plane and so forth. I really resonate with that kind of thing. So that's where I'd like to see it going, so.
We started with a Spanish vocabulary on this project, and we looked and we modeled it, and we thought it was too powerful, and it added too much presence to the site. So we thought going to a deeper kind of an architecture would give a little bit of subtlety to the commercial in front and the little bit of residential behind it that wanted to disappear. That was our design approach. We could have looked at going but maybe there's more of a balance to introduce a little bit more of the white to catch a little bit more consistency with what's happening around it.
I think you're on the right page, yeah. So make a motion for an indefinite continuance. Or no, a modification officer.
That's close.
We got it.
Yeah.
Got it. To, with the following comments that we see that there's no problem with the rear setback modification for the parking in the faraway corner. With regards to the open yard, we're concerned that the architecture give more green and shade and to make sure that when it evolves, it has plenty of that. And it is a comfortable place to live and not feel like you're up on the raw roof. And we don't need to we don't need comment on the parking, and that the architecture being very well organized, as well as the site being organized very appropriately, but we have some concerns about the strong modern or contemporary look with the significant continuous overhangs and materials, and would like to see recognition of a more quiet palette, both in its colors and its materials. Does that say everything?
Chair Anderson, to Board Member 6, just to clarify for the record, I'm going to change rear setback to interior setback for comment 1, and then for number 2, with the open yard, I'm just going to insert the word modification in there, so we're clear that that's
Yes.
supportive of the modification, given that they look at the landscaping as that evolves.
Thank you for cleaning up my language. My language needs a lot of cleanup.
And if I could ask, please, so the motion was,
Indefinite continuance to the modification hearing officer.
okay.
Do I have a second?
Well, I just want to add to that that doesn't really reflect how I feel. So, I actually feel it is quiet now. I don't think it will be. I don't know for sure if it's rendered in white, but because I can't see it. But I don't feel that that's not what I'm recommending, and I don't feel that it's not quiet right now. I think the direction it's going is fine. So those comments don't reflect my perspective.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a second on the motion? No? I'll second that. Any discussion? Do you guys want to add anything? Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
No.
Board Member Noon?
Yes.
Board Member 6?
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
And then
All right.
may we have Board Member Anderson state the reason for a no vote?
Yes, because the motion didn't reflect the comments I made. It was at odds with the comments I made, so I voted no in a way of just being consistent with my own comments.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will adjourn.
Can I just make one comment before we leave, not related to this board business? Just, I wish I was a little more, I was caught off guard because when we started to vote earlier about the chair and vice chair, it was sort of, I thought that there'd be a bit of a conversation. To my point two, Board Member Anderson had nominated Member Noon as chairman, and there was no vote for that.
I didn't hear that.
I recall. Yeah.
Did you guys hear that?
I did not hear it either, but please continue. And then
So
we can wrap it up.
I would just like to, make a few notes, which is, first off, I think Chair Anderson and Vice Chair Whalen have done a wonderful job. My position.
I can recuse it. I mean, I cannot accept it.
It's
Let's let him finish, and then we can.
where I'd just like to make the points is just that, like to say, better decisions through fresh perspectives, rotating leadership prevents groupthink and brings new priorities and questions to the way of running meetings without changing the board's standards. Fairness, trust, and credibility with the public. When the same people lead year after year, it can look like an inside club. And rotation signals openness, reduces perceived bias, and strengthens public confidence in the process. And then lastly, I'd like to say succession planning and continuity leadership rotation trains more members to run meetings effectively, makes the board more resilient when someone steps down, and avoids a scramble when longtime leaders leave. So we all participate in consent, and there's moments when all of us are asked to lead meetings. But if we're not creating opportunities to teach people how to be leaders, then I think we're doing an in-service to our board.
Understood. I will not accept the nomination, so.
Well, we're going to open this back up again in at the next full board hearing, so we'll have more information. Appreciate those words, Board Member Soffren, and we'll just close it out for now. So the meeting will be adjourned. Thank you all.